The first time you betray yourself, it doesn't feel like betrayal. It feels like mercy. You are 6, maybe 7, standing in the cereal aisle while your mother's voice cracks over the phone pressed to her ear. She is crying about money again, about your father again, about everything again. You tug her sleeve and hold up the box with the cartoon tiger because you remember she once said it made her laugh when she was little. She doesn't look down. She swats your hand away like a mosquito. The box falls. Frosted flakes scatter across the linoleum like cheap snow. You smile wider. You say, "It's okay, Mommy. I don't even like that one." Inside your chest, something hot and sharp folds itself into a smaller, quieter shape and promises never to make noise again. That is the original sin of the people pleaser, learning that your pain is an inconvenience and their comfort is your religion. Fast forward 25 years. You are in a meeting room that smells of burnt coffee and ambition. Your boss is late. Everyone is pretending to work while actually doom scrolling. You stand up, unasked, and refill every water glass. You adjust the thermostat because someone sighed. You laugh at a joke that lands somewhere south of your dignity. You do all of this with the radiant ease of a flight attendant demonstrating seatbelts during turbulence. No one notices the effort. That is the point. The performance only works if it looks like breathing. Later, alone in the bathroom stall, you rest your forehead against the cool metal door and feel the tremor start in your hands and crawl up your arms like ivy. You whisper, "Stop it," to your own nervous system the way other people whisper, "Shut up," to a barking dog. It does not stop. It never has. You have become world-class at reading micro-expressions. You know the exact decibel a throat clearing reaches when someone is about to ask you for a favor. You can predict, within a 3-minute margin, when a friend's silence means they're spiraling and need you to become their external prefrontal cortex. You are so good at this that people call you empathic, intuitive, an angel, a lifesaver. They never call you exhausted because you have trained them not to see it. Exhaustion would require them to take responsibility, and responsibility is the one thing you have spent your entire life protecting them from. At night, you scroll through group chats you were added to without consent. Someone's cat is sick. Someone's boyfriend is trash. Someone's mother has cancer. You send heart emojis, voice notes, perfectly curated playlists for grief, links to articles you haven't even read yet, but know will help. You do this until 3:14 a.m., while your own body lies in bed like an unanswered text. You tell yourself this is love. It is not love. It is penance. The body keeps the score, but the people pleaser keeps the applause. And applause is a narcotic with a brutal half-life. Here is what no one tells you. Every time you swallow a boundary, your vagus nerve takes notes. Every time you say it's fine when it is decidedly not fine, your amygdala files it under future meltdown. Your immune system starts treating your own tissues like uninvited guests. Your cortisol learns to live permanently elevated, the way some people leave porch lights on for decades. You develop adjectives for pain that healthy people think are metaphors: burning, stabbing, electric, heavy, empty, buzzing, gone. You learn to smile through all of them because the moment you stop smiling, the room becomes unsafe for everyone else, and keeping the room safe is the only identity you have left. You date rescuers, fixers, emotional vampires wearing progressive politics. They sense your availability the way sharks sense blood in water. They arrive with their childhoods unpacked in cardboard boxes, labeled fragile, and you spend years rearranging their damage into something livable while your own boxes gather dust in the garage of your psyche. When you finally leave, they act shocked. "I thought you liked helping." You almost laugh. You have never been allowed to not like anything. Sex becomes another service industry. You perfect the art of the performative orgasm because genuine pleasure requires a kind of presence you have not been permitted since childhood. You learn exactly which sounds make them feel like gods. You watch their faces more carefully than you watch your own body. Afterward, they fall asleep, glowing with conquest. You lie awake, calculating how soon you can pee without seeming ungrateful. Your closest friends start sentences with, "You're the only person who really gets it." And you feel proud for half a second before the ancient exhaustion returns. You have become a human emotional support animal. People pet you when they're sad, pat you on the head when they feel better, walk away when you finally collapse. You apologize for collapsing. The rage, when it finally comes, is geological. It does not announce itself with shouting. It arrives as autoimmune disease, as panic attacks in grocery store parking lots, as the sudden inability to swallow as the day you realize you cannot remember the last time you asked for anything without prefacing it with, "Sorry, but." The rage is quiet, molten, meticulous. It has been rehearsing for 30 years. You book your first therapy appointment after finding yourself crying in a Target dressing room because the jeans don't fit, and the overhead lights are cruel, and the sales associate asked if you needed anything, and you almost screamed, "I need to not exist for 5 fucking minutes." But instead you said, "I'm good, thank you," in the voice of a Disney princess who has been flayed alive. The therapist is calm, terrifyingly calm, asks you to notice where you feel anger in your body. You laugh because anger is a foreign country you have never been issued a passport for. She waits. You try to locate it like a lost key. Eventually, you place a hand on your solar plexus, feel something coiled heat that has been there so long it feels structural. You whisper, "Here." Your voice cracks like thin ice. She nods like you have just confessed to murder, and she is not surprised. She teaches you the sentence, "I'm not available for that," and you practice it in the mirror until you throw up. The first time you use it in real life on a friend who has been trauma dumping at 1 a.m. for 6 consecutive months, your nervous system goes into full arrest. Heart racing, tunnel vision, certainty of abandonment. You text an apology before they even reply. They reply, "No worries, take care of yourself." You stare at the message for 20 minutes waiting for the other shoe to drop. It never does. The sky does not fall. You do not die. Something inside you starts, very slowly, to unclench. You begin the archaeology of no. You say no to the extra project. You say no to the family gathering where you will be asked why you're still single. You say no to the hug from the uncle who smells like bourbon and bad boundaries. Each no is a small death. Each no is followed by shaking, sweating, nausea. The conviction that you have finally become the monster your childhood warned you about. You survive every single one. The world rearranges itself around the new shape of your spine. You learn the difference between generosity and self-erasure. Generosity has roots. Self-erasure is a gas that fills whatever container it is poured into. You begin to notice when you are leaking. You begin to plug the holes with trembling fingers. One day you catch your reflection in a shop window and realize you are not smiling automatically. Your face at rest looks serious, maybe even severe. For the first time, it looks like a face that could belong to you. You almost cry right there on the sidewalk. But you don't, because crying in public is still a skill you are acquiring, one public sob at a time. You delete the group chats that function like emotional septic tanks. You mute the relatives who use prayer emojis as weapons. You stop answering the phone after 9 p.m. unless it is an actual emergency. The guilt is tidal, but it passes through you now instead of setting up permanent residence. You sit in silence for entire evenings and discover it does not kill you. You discover that your own company is not punishment. You discover tastes you never admitted to having. Horror movies, cilantro, saying the word cunt when you stub your toe, sleeping diagonally across the entire bed like a starfish claiming territory. You have a dream where the little girl with the spilled cereal walks up to you, hands you the crumpled drawing of the smiling sun. This time you kneel down, look her in the eye, say, "You didn't do anything wrong. She was hurting and she didn't know how to hold it, so she dropped it on you. That was never your job." The little girl starts to cry, but this time the tears are relief. You hold her until she stops shaking. When you wake up, your pillow is wet, your chest feels cavernous, light like something enormous has finally moved out. Years later, someone will ask how you got so good at boundaries, and you will laugh because the real answer is brutal. I got good at boundaries the way shipwreck survivors get good at swimming. I was drowning in other people's needs, and the only way to live was to kick. You stand on the beach at dawn. The ocean is indifferent, enormous, honest. You do not smile for it. You do not apologize to the sand for your footprints. You wade in until the water takes your weight, and for the first time in your life you float without having to hold anyone else up. The salt stings the places you have finally stopped picking open. It feels like healing. It feels like birth. Behind you, the shore is lined with all the versions of you that died so this one could live. The yes girl, the fixer, the human shield. The smile stretched like a garrote wire across her own throat. You do not wave goodbye. You do not owe them ceremony. You simply turn your face to the horizon. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel the exact size of your lungs and understand, with the kind of certainty that rearranges molecules, that your existence is not a debt. It never was. The light is not enter through the wound. The light was always inside. The wound was just the place you finally stopped covering it up.